but now we have Alan May, so hold on. The joys of live broadcasting. Al's had a few of those moments. Hey, Alan, it's, as we say, the view for sports fans today, coffee table discussion. Our poll question is this: will Corey Perry ever play in the NHL again in light of yesterday's news? How are you voting on that?
I'm going to say he will, because, we're hearing all types of different things. It's mostly gossip and innuendo. And it sounds like, I don't know which side to take on this, but, there really hasn't been a whole lot of information. But I would say he does. And I think the Chicago Blackhawks are more sensitive to every situation and every detail that there is. And I don't know if they over-rotated, overreacted, but it seems like, the two sides are at odds over whatever the incident was.
Well, Corey Perry's been in the NHL a long time, as have you. He does not have a history of being a troublemaker, as I know, unless you know something I don't.
No, you know what? I've never heard anything concerning about Corey Perry ever, other than, if I was playing in the National Hockey League and I was playing against Corey Perry, I'd keep my eye on him at all times, because he's got a habit of accidentally falling into you on purpose, driving his knees through your goaltender or whatever he does. But, that's the way he plays the game. And that's why he's always been such a sought after player, is because he is a guy that puts it all on the line. He's not fast. He never has been. One-time MVP of the National Hockey League, Stanley Cup champion. And I just look at him. He's got a long pedigree. I've never heard anything off the ice, but it doesn't mean that he's an angel, or that doesn't mean there's been something there. As long as these details and the vagueness of, what we are hearing and not hearing, I think it's unfair to everyone to jump to conclusions. And I know the internet was abuzz with a bunch of the biggest garbage in the last few days. It's absolutely disgusting what people think is funny and what they put on anonymously, basically, and are saying about Corey Perry and his teammates and everything else. So it's a really weird situation, and I'm not sure it's been handled the way it should have been handled from minute one.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. People are sick. It's a lesson for all of us. I was going to send some text messages out to people on this, and I thought, wait a minute, Rod, you know the truth. You know the family. You know there's zero chance of this. And eventually we found out that it was wrong. So let's move on to happier things. The Washington Capitals. This one story that I've heard, people are like, how are they so good when Ovi has not been filling the net? That's a big story so far.
Well, they haven't been too great the last couple of games. They lost to San Jose the other night. San Jose's played them hard a couple times, but I think the biggest thing, after they went 1-3-1, they really turned their game around. And I think over the last 10 games, they're still 8-1-1, but it's been, from the net on out through the defensive zone, they had to buckle down. The neutral zone, they were playing fast and they were playing very hard and difficult until the past two games. And their forecheck was very exciting. And we'll have to say, from the games that they played at home, the majority after that first 5-game stretch, I guess they had a great game, an exciting game in that first 5 against the Calgary Flames, which they won in a shootout. And Darcy Kemper stole the game, was absolutely spectacular. But since that time, they played some very exciting hockey games, and something we hadn't seen in 3 years, because under Laviolette, they had some decent records the first couple of years, actually really good records, but the hockey was less to be desired. And when you pay so much for tickets, I didn't feel like people were getting their entertainment value. So this season, I believe they've been getting their value in what they're paying for their tickets. The games have been very exciting. They've been nail biters, because the Caps haven't been scoring goals, and that's because the grade 8 hasn't been, firing on all cylinders. He's not shooting the puck very well right now. He's not getting his normal volume of shots, but they're playing, when they play well, they play fast in all 3 zones. They're in your face. The last couple of games, they got away from it. I thought they were way too structured, and I thought they were waiting when they played the Oilers on Friday, on Thanksgiving Friday. I thought they were just way too slow in that game, way too much respect to McDavid and Draisaitl, and they never got their game in order. And I thought they should have crushed Edmonton, because Edmonton has been the worst team in the National Hockey League all season long. Inside their own zone, and the Caps didn't do anything to make their players make decisions. So you take the last 2 games and throw them out, the Caps have been pretty good.
I'm looking at the standings here. I guess It's still pretty tight. I mean, last I checked, the Caps had something to be happy about. But yes, we did watch them get bombed 5-0 by the Oilers. But I'd like to think that was just a burn the video type of game. But Ovi, 5 goals in 18 games. Pretty easy now to say he's not going to catch Wayne. Or do you expect him to catch fire at some point?
Well, I still think that he's got to get himself into playing shape. And I'm not saying that he's out of shape. I just don't think that he went into the offseason trying to kill himself to be 3% body fat. And, he wanted to get into the season, get his legs. He's skating better week by week. And at some point, we know he's going to rifle off 5 or 6 games in a row, score multiple goals, and then have one of those 3 or 4 goal games when he's counted out. So I still haven't counted him out. And I'm the record, it still seems so far away. But I honestly believe once they get this power play in order, they do pretty much the worst power play in the National Hockey League when you go by the numbers right now. And they're doing the same setup. They keep changing players, who's here and who's there. But I think the majority of the league knows what they're going to do in their 1-3-1 and how they're going to move the puck. And they can try a few wrinkles, but I think until they structurally change their power play, Ovi's not going to get on the board continually. They have to move players around. I think they need more of a net presence. I think they have to have maybe Ovi go into the slot and start getting some shots from there, because the so-called Ovi office hasn't been producing this season because everyone kind of knows how to play it right now. And it takes a lot of balls to be on the penalty kill to play against Ovi. Because we're seeing guys race out there to block those shots right now. And if they don't block it, the shot is fired wide or it hits the outside of the net, hits the outside of the post. So until they structurally change the power play, I don't think it's going to get going. And I think that's going to affect Ovi's numbers. And, they've been winning with a power play that only has 3 goals. They haven't scored in 11 games. Prior to that, they scored 3 games in a row. And it's been 11 games. It's been about an hour and 10 minutes or so without a power play goal of power play time. So not very good. Not a whole lot of high dangers coming out of it either.
I'd love to know how you ignore the noise, if you're able to at all. Like, I'm still learning, and I'm not sure I'll ever figure that out. And when I mean noise, I mean just chatter, that endless chatter you hear. I don't know if you can. But one thing I heard is that the Capitals will allow Ovi to play until he catches Wayne. Do you think that is the case?
You know what? I think the biggest thing, and if it takes 5 years, I don't think Ovi will be playing, because he's got a standard that he wants to play as well. And there's been no noise of that around here. The biggest thing is he's still got years on his contract. It's this year and 2 more. The hope was that, I thought for sure he'd break it next season. Right now, he's on pace for less than 20 goals. And, that's not where he wants to be. I'm sure that's not where the team wants to be in a wins and losses standpoint. But to me, the team's not going to get in his way. And I believe we have this area around the arena they refer to as Chinatown. And it has been built by Alexander Ovechkin, not the basketball team. The day Bruce Boudreau became the coach, even though Ovi had a few seasons in him, it was Thanksgiving years ago, 2007 or so, 2008. 2007, Thanksgiving Friday, this franchise turned on its ear, and it was they put Ovechkin and Backstrom together. They put Ovechkin and Backstrom on the first power play unit, which Ovi was already there. Bruce Boudreau became the coach that day. And about a month later, that place sold out every game until this October against the Calgary Flames. And you know what? Ovechkin deserves a lot. There's been a lot of great numbers put up by him. We didn't have so many great coaches here over the years, but when the right mix with Barry Trotz and the players were on that last final Stanley Cup team, they won a Stanley Cup. And I didn't think it was going to be possible until they started changing how they ran this franchise. And as Brian McClellan started to do things drastically different than George. And they were very aggressive those first few years and free agent signings and some of the trades they made. And then, finally they went with the younger team and won a Stanley Cup. So, whatever the noise is in Canada, we don't hear it here in D.C. I don't think you can tell Ovi, we want you to quit. I don't think you can cut him, send him to the minors, do anything foolish. He's been great. And as long as he wants to play, you allow him to play. But if it takes 5 or 6 years to break that record, I don't think he'll be playing.
Yeah, I think the noise was here in Florida. Somebody said it, but no matter. Al, we are out of time. We got to go. I apologize. Yeah, we got to go. We got to run. We'll do it again soon. Happy holidays if I don't see you. Man, thanks for the time today.
Take care and enjoy Florida.
Washington Capitals TV analyst Alan May.